Hello everybody and welcome back to week number 8 of the Quake Pro League, where my name is Ketchup, joined by Flea on the desk, and we have one more series left to go for the Americas portion of tonight's Pro League. It's going to be a heavy hitter. It's going to be DaHanG versus whaz. This is our final match of the night, and I think it's going to be the highest level of the Americas that we've seen today. They always ask, and I'll ask you again, how are we kind of expecting this one to go?
I think that almost everyone is going to expect that DaHanG will be the one to take this. He's going up against his former teammate because they used to be on Liquid together, DaHanG and whaz, together with Rafa, of course. But when we look at duel results, DaHanG has only lost to Rafa himself. He hasn't played whaz yet, granted, but so far he's had an extremely strong track record in the past few weeks, or the first 8 weeks of the Quake Pro League. So I think that if I was a betting man, I would definitely bet on DaHanG, especially also because whaz has been kind of inconsistent. I mean, he's taken some good maps and some wins of the likes of, say, Effortless and Chain, but then he's also lost to Dramis or Chain on the other hand, so definitely not that consistent overall, whereas DaHanG has been a very consistent, very heavy hitter. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a perfect time to have a bit of a chat about DaHanG while we go into what is going to be the setup for the final series of the day. I think DaHanG is the undisputed number 2 in the Americas, right? And the only reason he's not within that number 1 spot is just Rafa exists, and Rafa has been able to collectively prove that time and time again that he is the strongest player of this part of the world. But DaHanG is always just slightly behind him. And DaHanG, in a lot of ways, is, when it comes to just the content of the game itself, I always find DaHanG to be the innovator. He's always the player that kind of explores the weird champions and these new areas of the game when it comes to the content itself, mostly champion related, that everyone else writes off. And I say this about DaHanG regularly because not a lot of players out there kind of invent the wheel in that respect. And I say that especially today because it's another opportunity to see the fact that, yes, he's picked Strog and Pika in one of his maps, and I strongly believe that he has always been and is to this day the best Strog player on the planet. He just plays this champion to a level that no one else has quite reached yet. They're getting there, but DaHanG for me is the shining gold standard of what every Strog player should look up to. On the flip side though, his opponent whaz.
Yeah, whaz so far, as I just mentioned, relatively inconsistent. Definitely a strong player, a good player, a lot of experience, but tends to be more of a team player. So still, he's still in the upper echelons of the NA duel scene, make no mistake about that. But he hasn't excelled in the way that DaHanG or Rafa or the others have. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. whaz is someone who is capable of dealing a tremendous amount of damage very quickly. I think that that's one of the things that he used to be known for back in the team days, that he would very often do an enormous amount of damage coming into these fights. But it's going to be interesting to see if he'll be able to bring the tactics, the strategy, and all of the other things that go into duel as well when he goes up against DaHanG.
And it's quite a tall order fighting someone like DaHanG, because I've always kind of felt this about DaHanG and Rafa, is that if they are very, very familiar with how you play and they play against you a lot, I think your chances of beating them in a competitive setting actually kind of drastically go down, because they're so scientific, and DaHanG as well, they are so analytical with their own gameplay that when they've fought you a bunch of times and they kind of know your player tendencies, it's kind of hard to get an edge on them ever. And that's actually, why I think sometimes Rafa looks untouchable, but then he'll play off against DaHanG, and DaHanG will get a map or two. DaHanG has actually beaten Rafa in Quake Champions before. Back during the round duel days, granted, but it's still a competitive setting, and that was the version of duel everyone played at the time, and DaHanG had taken wins before.
I mean, and we don't even have to go back longer than a few months. He beat Rafa at QuakeCon. Incredible feat coming out of DaHanG right then and there. And so what you say is definitely true, because even the 2v2 days back when Rafa and DaHanG were of course the unbeatable, untouchable Team Liquid, very often you would see DaHanG actually be the one to outdamage Rafa, often by a pretty significant amount. So the man knows how to play, and his technical level is absolutely insane. His commandment of the skills, the aim, the movement, absolutely top notch.
And then going back to talking about how it's hard to beat them consistently is, how many times in 2v2 would a team get a map, and it's always the first map, and then during that map you can already see them kind of figure it out, and then the rest of the maps are just a complete wash. We should have the vetoes and the picks and bans. We have Blood Covenant first, Nyx versus Ranger. We have Strog, and then BJ on Ruins. Another BJ coming out on Ruins, how about that?
Again,
and then finishing off with Awoken, where it's Ison and Visor.
And of course, I think all eyes, as you already said earlier, will be on that Strog and Peaker. DaHanG is the one who first brought that champion into the competitive top-level scene. And like you said, he plays it like no one else does. You see a lot of people who just play Strog at this point because he is, of course, the second crouch sliding champion, and they love being able to crouch slide around the map, but very few are able to effectively use that Peaker ability to get themselves frags and advantageous positions the way that DaHanG does.
Well, in terms of predictions, am I going to assume that this is a pretty unanimous and consistent prediction from the two of us?
I would say 3-0 for DaHanG.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I just think that whaz, if he's able to get a map here, I think, absolutely good for him. And I think that if anything, this is just something to... Any points are better than no points. We've already established that clearly throughout the course of the QPL. And at the same time, going up against DaHanG, if you can get at least one map on this guy, you're at least going to leave this series feeling like, right, it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think a 2-1's going to happen. I think DaHanG is, like Rafa, I think the two of those guys are just that next level above everyone else right now. But hey, weekly challenges, the weekly opportunity to play. If whaz is able to take out DaHanG this week, then all the power to him. It will be sick to see.
And on that note, we will be jumping into the first map of the final matchup of today. We've got whaz on the Ranger versus DaHanG on the Nyx. So a small champion versus a medium champion, and whaz is absolutely leaving no time to get aggressive as he immediately pushes and pressures DaHanG.
But whaz can only put on so much pressure without a ranged weapon. The lack of railgun means he can't really pick those angles just so generously yet, but DaHanG spawning near the railgun means that he kind of has that automatic distance advantage, and he is going in for the kill actually, and I'm not really sure what happened with whaz. Is he having audio troubles or something?
Because you could very clearly hear DaHanG jump across and then get the double jump, but then he still wasn't even looking up there at all, and wow, DaHanG immediately one shot, two shots, cementing himself with 2 frags of a lead.
Oh my! I mean, he's dead. He's looking for the little peak angle, and I mean the heavy armor. He's going to get a chunky delay on that, giving DaHanG the opportunity to establish ultimate control here. I'm still curious as to what's happening with whaz at the moment. Besides these crazy good shots, which obviously that's a little bit different. That ping sounds so similar to the cha-ching in DaHanG's theme song that it's just, when I hear that, I literally just hear DaHanG's music every time.
I mean, it suits him well. He's racking up frags nicely, and there we go. Immediately, he knows where whaz is going to be. Sets a nice trap, finishes it off with the shotgun, and 4 frags in a minute 30. I think this is the most we've seen all day.
I think we're going to hear this ding a lot today.
It sure
for the rest of this, I feel it. I feel it in my bones. This is October, the bone zone. And here comes more rail opportunities from DaHanG, who's missed almost no rails so far. I don't want to commentators curse him, but so be it. Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
my
good
bad.
job.
Sorry, I should never have said anything.
But still,
he's going to hit the next rail. Mark my words. He'll hit the next one. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. See?
He's going to definitely hit the next one.
Yeah. 50% of the time you're right every time, right?
Every time, baby.
Yeah. DaHanG will secure himself the heavy, moving into the next one.
What? Come on, DaHanG.
What is this man doing? He's just putting up a show. We're not even 3 minutes into this map.
I blessed him, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I told you. Don't doubt me.
I would never. And in
not after that.
around 10 seconds, Heavy will be making another appearance on the map. DaHanG has got a very good position. Probably heard that whaz right there. whaz tries to sneak on by, or slip on by with the dog. Not very sneaky using the orb that way, but still won't be able to get out. I feel like that was such a desperate move. Orbing past your opponent like that. If you have the stack, maybe, but otherwise.
I mean, some of these shots for me is, I actually came under a little bit of hot water, I suppose, at one point when I claimed that I think DaHanG has really underrated aim, because there are just certain moments where you just go, what? You know, these crazy moments of just some of the greatest shots you've seen. They've come from DaHanG historically in Quake Champions more regularly than people would think.
I really hope that even though it wasn't the frag, we might be able to see a slow motion replay of just that moment, because that was absolutely sick. I mean, it was just vertically, but up. Usually you see them going down, but this time DaHanG's just breaking all the rules. Though I think he's not really applying that much pressure right now, despite whaz having next to nothing to his name. Oh, that rocket. I feel like that would have been a kill if he hadn't hit that ledge on top. 7-0.
I fear, Flea, that this might be one of those maps. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh.
I'm just hoping it stays at one map and it doesn't translate over into the rest of this entire matchup. Oh,
A trade's going to come forward,
Yeah.
but I guess the question is going to be who gets what spawn. The Mega being up is at least going to give whaz something that resembles stack, but this is kind of similar to the start of the map. At the moment, DaHanG, the rail has been the miracle weapon for DaHanG so far, and I feel like once more he spawned it. Yeah, it's already gone. whaz now has complete information that he's got the rail gun.
Oh, that orb against the wall. He wanted to chase, he wanted to be aggressive right there, but he accidentally shot it into the wall and was unable to build up any speed afterwards. Heavy will be going to whaz. The trade actually working out in his favor, but he's got to be careful.
As that Ghost Walk popped, goes through the jump pad. Oh, teleporter, I mean. DaHanG is very, very weak indeed. Watch out for the rail.
Yeah.
That one zipped past the face for sure.
Gutsy play from DaHanG because he was absolutely railable and he still just stuck around hoping to land the shot. Neither player did. But right now whaz, can he mount the comeback? Very good position to hide in from DaHanG. Oh, he doesn't even make it up.
That's very much a feels bad man moment where whaz didn't actually detect DaHanG at all, and then caught himself stuck on the ledge before he could even get down there. So
the silver lining of that is that I don't think DaHanG realized he fell back down. I think DaHanG figured that he would fly all the way up, and so he already ran away because that would have been an easy frag for him otherwise.
5-minute warning has passed, and DaHanG just looking to be on that next level so far. His accuracy has been off the chain, and whaz, I mean, if you are whaz in the situation, it's got to be quite intimidating. Because every time DaHanG hits these ridiculous shots, it's like, well, I feel like I can't play the game then, because every time I give this guy even a smidgen of an angle, he takes it.
Watch. DaHanG's accuracy absolutely on point. Needs a little bit more rockets, and we'll find it right off the bat. And DaHanG, or rather whaz, yeah, what can he do with this? He does have control, but really, DaHanG is just hitting him so hard that he's unable to get his stack up to a level where he can just run the map completely freely.
And at the same time, DaHanG has been masterfully managing his Ghost Walk. He has seen him re-emerge, so whaz knows he's going to have at least a few seconds of just free time to work with, but that still means he's going to out-combat DaHanG. The missed rail, even if the rail landed, whaz still would have got that frag, I think. He would have tanked that first rail for sure.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to get a little bit of control back. But I feel like that was such a one-sided beginning that maybe there's too much work to do in a short space of time.
It's very well possible because, I mean, 3.5 minutes for 6 frags against DaHanG on Nyx. I mean, she's got the mobility and she's got the Ghost Walk that allows her to very, very quickly get out of just about any situation instantly and safely as well. Heavy is up right now. I think whaz is aware of that, but he wants to pressure his opponent a little bit more for backing away.
And now here comes whaz, just trying to do all he can at this stage. He at least has a decent amount of timing on those pickups, so
yeah,
you know, if he's trying to pick a fight towards one of them, he'll have a little bit of timing to make it happen. And there has been pretty much a constant delay between Heavy and Mega this entire map, and there's the immediate Ghost Walk popped just in case. whaz not confident at all where DaHanG had actually run off to.
Good decision for him to drop down right there, though, correctly calling or at least expecting that DaHanG might have an angle on him. So by dropping down on the bridge, he essentially hit himself very well. DaHanG, excellent defensive rocket. whaz is going to push in. Mega will be going towards... I think that was DaHanG. It happened so quickly I couldn't even see. But it will be the Nyx to get the next frag. And we're already 7.5 minutes into the map. And at this point, whaz, you need a miracle.
I think DaHanG is doing a really good job too. It's very obvious that he's kind of conceding some of these pickups because he doesn't really value them as much as just staying alive and keeping the win, right? Keeping the lead.
That's what matters in the end.
He can play as defensive as he likes now. He has so many frags to make it work. As long as he's hitting money shot rails like that in defense. Cha-ching, there it is.
And he knows that the whaz needs to push them. He knows that whaz is desperate to do damage, to try and get the item, so all he has to do is position himself perfectly. whaz is gonna come walking on the right underneath him, rocket straight down, and it's a frag. 2 minutes left.
For 8 frags.
Yeah,
and then he has to take the lead. I think that's asking a bit too much so far. I'm willing to write this first map off unless whaz is just able to pull off the miracle of miracles, but looks to me like DaHanG is still just establishing decent damage, he's establishing threat. whaz isn't quite able to just run around, and even if he gets a frag here, we'll see what he can do with it, but he's got to get 7 frags after that.
Yeah. Excellent tribal earlier from DaHanG as well. Another weapon. Oh! think he used that a moment too soon to pick up the small armor. Luckily for him, there's another one waiting on the other side of the map. whaz is down there with you. I think DaHanG had no clue where that orb went to, but his rockets are so much better, and whaz throwing out the LOL. Yeah, he realized that he kind of choked pretty majorly right there.
He had the complete jump on him too. And
Yeah,
just,
absolutely.
None of those rockets hit their mark at all. And it just seems to be DaHanG is on top form, and whaz, dare I say, right now isn't really.
Yeah. whaz not being able to withstand the DaHanG onslaught. The accountant looking in top shape. And this is exactly why he is number 2 in NA.
And it's always the thing, right? I always feel like he's shortly behind Rafa. Like I don't think this difference between him and Rafa in terms of like just ability of the game is super drastic. I just think DaHanG is right up there as well. So in many ways, when someone has to face off against DaHanG, there are so many traits that these two guys share. It's ridiculous. Another frag is coming down, and
beautiful.
I don't even want to talk about Rafa too much when we talk about DaHanG.
Yeah,
I mean it as a great honor, and they're both so talented. But here we go. Map number 1. Very dominant performance there for DaHanG, who's just an absolute animal today. Oh, come on, dude. Cha-ching! Map 1 is done.
Giving the crowd what we want with those kinds of shots, and that is an extremely convincing and one-sided win. Look at that, 4,700 damage versus 1,800. That's more than twice as much coming out of DaHanG. 60% railgun as well. What do you do against that when you're whaz?
Pray. Close your eyes and just pray that you get through it, basically.
I hope that he starts missing.
Yeah, and that's ultimately, it was just a very, very dominant map number 1, and that's the element of DaHanG, though, is that, because amongst all of that, DaHanG never lost control.
Yeah.
And that's what is so, I think, scary when you watch DaHanG play sometimes, is that he's maintaining really strong control the entire time. He rarely loses timing on any of these major pickups, but at the same time, he just has this knack of just being able to just look in your general direction and just blink and hit you with a rail.
Oh, yeah.
And like, no matter the angle, no matter the shot, I'm sure, hopefully, we get a chance to see that rail soon. If not, then it doesn't matter. I'll go back and check a clip or something. I'm sure someone clipped it.
I'm sure more than one. Oh,
there it
look
is.
at that one.
God, that was such a good shot.
That was so sick. I think whaz jumped from like railgun to the other side, or from the other side to railgun, those two little platforms, and he just threw it straight up and connected it. How is that even possible? Very dominant performance from DaHanG.
But that was map number 1. We still have to get through 2 more, and our next map should have Strog in it.
Yeah.
Which I really think has always been like DaHanG's premier champion. Not necessarily in duel. I think obviously we need the competitive weeklies to determine whether we think his Strog is currently his strongest champion.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're well on the way, and with how he played today, then if he plays Nyx like that today, then Strog is. He said multiple times in the past that he thinks Strog's his favorite champion, right? So if he's this good with Nyx, then what are we expecting to see in map 2?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how I would feel if I was whaz right now. After watching that display of excellence, I mean, DaHanG just didn't drop the ball at all. Hitting incredible rails, 60% railgun overall, doing so much damage and being so on point with his positioning and his item control and knowing exactly when to go for an item or just to let it go and instead to damage. That was masterful. So I really think that things are looking a bit grim for a whaz.
And I'm not even looking at the fact that it's Strog up next. DaHanG is about to play on Ruins. And I feel like in Champions, Ruins is just one of his best maps.
Yeah.
I look back at a lot of maps where he gets great results and he does exceptionally well. It always kind of seems to me that Ruins is kind of part of that machine, right? It's part it's part of a series that he plays, or it's one of the maps that he gets one of the wins on. It's just a map that fits him incredibly well. And now DaHanG, if he's hitting rails the way he has been today, and now he's going in with Strog, can I be a bit biased and ask that we spectate the Strog? I just need to see it.
Let's hope we get some Strog action. But on the other hand, I also think BJ on this map is interesting as well. Yes. There we go, though. Spectator, get what you want.
We've seen a lot of Strog today, and I'm just curious to see what DaHanG Strog looks like in comparison to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not alone with this one. We'll check whaz if he gets a frag, as always.
Yeah. That's just how it goes. DaHanG immediately getting himself the Mega health, and there's already a small delay between Mega and Heavy. And I think DaHanG at this point just wants to get information. That's exactly what he got. Misses the follow-up rail though, but he knows exactly when Heavy is going to respawn, and maybe next rotation he'll be able to put himself on that item.
But for now, a little bit of a tame start now. whaz opening with the rail to put DaHanG a little bit far back, but there is slightly enough time to go and collect the Mega and the Heavy as that's about to spawn. DaHanG still has that height advantage, but yeah, doesn't want to overexpend too much until he has more information. He knows the Mega's out in the open, so quickly snap it up, and there's the Heavy too. A complete trade-off. Here's Pika, used in combination with the rocket, and that's already, I think, one of the differences is that DaHanG kind of uses Pika as like an additional projectile on top of a good situation.
Yeah.
Okay, dual wield
Rocket's
popped.
looking good. Yeah, dual wield is popped, and that's actually going to be in DaHanG's favor, because that means that 40 seconds for now, whaz will not be able to use the dual wield, and DaHanG can rest a little easier, knowing that that threat isn't lurking right now.
I think it's very much why DaHanG is being so careful. Like, up until that Mega, you can see that he's not comfortable going into anywhere unless he has necessary information of where whaz is, because he knew that the dual wield was available, right?
Yeah.
If he ambushes you in any corner and you're out of position, then he's just going to melt you down with it. There's a huge element of care now. DaHanG trying to maintain that so far, but there we go. Finally, this is the rail, but here comes Pika, deleted.
Oh.
But while the distraction comes in, he gets one of those uncontested rails, misses the second. The rails already haven't hit quite the same way as they did in map number 1.
That was such an aggressive play by DaHanG to jump back across and go for more damage, when I think so many people would have just made their way over to Heavy, their safe space immediately. But DaHanG doesn't roll like that. He wants the damage.
But you can see the difference in how much, I think, room whaz has to breathe the moment DaHanG doesn't hit every single rail.
Yeah.
You know, there were so many situations on Blood Covenant where it just felt like whaz wasn't even allowed to play the game. That was some excellent damage as well. Mega, it combined with the health vials. Dual wield, but I think he's going to get out damage. No! Gets caught on the wall and kind of messes up his rail angle, actually.
Yeah. Will land the follow-up shot. Beaker, can we get the first Beaker kill of the day? Nope, will not get it just yet. But DaHanG, I think, will be the one to stack up first.
Opts for the Hyper Blaster shots instead of the Kamikaze as well, which I really like, actually. Almost using Pika as the extended damage dealer. It's not going to be just a big payout. If he knew whaz was weak, then, you know, different variations to it and all that. But whaz, the Megas, nicely put back up. Heavy needs to try and avoid the rail from this.
Yeah, the rail, if DaHanG were to take a rail right now, it would be extremely bad for him. Luckily, he finds some health bubbles right there to get stacked up quite nicely. 100-100. Doesn't go through the teleporter. Smart decision, because he knows that whaz is probably waiting for him at the other side. Out comes the Beaker again. Instant Kamikaze. Decides not to leave it up and running too long, because of course it leaves you so exposed and vulnerable to any incoming damage.
But it is data. It is information that he's not really anywhere to be found near Super Nail Gun Room, but that rail is going to connect. Sounds like here comes BJ. Full speed ahead. Misses the defensive rail again. But that's going to be a miss from whaz. In return, DaHanG lives to fight another day. But I feel like even though his rails haven't been anywhere near as accurate as they were in Blood Covenant, the pivotal ones are still landing their mark. So whaz can't fight back. Running into a bunch of LG. It's going to come through, and Strog getting another one of those all-important frags. whaz now with only a tri-bolt in hand, actually. It's not an amazing situation, but he's getting some very respectable tri-bolt damage to boot.
Yeah, whaz at this point, DaHanG knows, of course, that he's got next to nothing to work with. He's got the tri-bolt, he's got the machine gun, but other than that, what are you going to do when DaHanG gets that close to you? DaHanG's got to be careful, though, because the risk of the refrag is very real. Oh, no! Well, he's going to push right away with machine gun. But whaz has got the aim.
I feel like that was a respectable attempt, but definitely a little bit more brash than you would expect of DaHanG, and whaz just caught in the wrong part of town with that one.
Railgun will be DaHanG's weapon to work with for the time being. Gets himself an LG as well. He's got perfect timing on the Heavy. Stacks himself up quite nicely. DaHanG taking some rocket damage from above. whaz, very good position right now. And DaHanG almost impossible to do any damage whatsoever. whaz won't press all the way though. He is going to back off slightly.
But he's already retreated too, to just cover a safe space. whaz didn't want to overextend either and put himself in harm's way, but we are in one of those weird positions. Here comes the Kamikaze again and hits its mark.
Yeah.
Wonderful steering and the combo of the rail. whaz in a pretty bad situation now. He's going to get the heavy, but undone by one swift rail shot.
I'm really hoping we're going to see an actual peeker kill. If it's going to happen with anyone in the Quake Pro League, it's going to happen with DaHanG, and I can't wait to actually see it happen again.
It is why I think, though, that DaHanG has got this next level of control with Strog. I think it's why I strongly believe he has the best Strog out there, because his control over Pika, I mean, it started in 2v2. It simply ascended throughout the course of duel. And now he's using the dual wield to push him away. But how much that matters when he's not getting the same level of accuracy as DaHanG is currently, I'm not sure, because now he's got no dual wield. And if there's a traditional, just straight up 1v1, DaHanG has been able to come off on top pretty much every single time. Yep. Here he goes now, full speed ahead. Here comes the peeker again. Sets up, kamikaze, and there he goes, disappeared. We got time, we still got time,
Absolutely, there's still 3.5 minutes, so time is starting to become a bit of an issue for a whaz right there. He's 3 frags behind Scott, some opportunities still, but of course, he's got to start putting something into work right now because DaHanG is starting to run the items once again. He takes Mega, he takes Heavy, and whaz is now up against an almost impenetrable defense.
But I feel like whaz has not really been in a position to challenge a lot of these items just yet. Yeah, and if he has, he's paid the price for it. Every time a fight's happening, he's just straight up not winning the fight. You know, DaHanG is out-aiming him. Yeah. And even with this dual wield, this dual wield is being used to try and push DaHanG away, but DaHanG's not only taken no damage, he's done more damage to whaz. Even after that, we saw a dual wield, we saw a huge stack on BJ, and we saw the Mega get picked up. Yeah. And I still felt like DaHanG still could have won that fight.
Well, DaHanG just used that pillar perfectly. He had that bit of cover right in front of him, and he only just dodged in and out of cover to shoot a rocket right back in. And so by doing that, he avoided taking pretty much any damage at all until the dual wield was out, and then he switched the rail and pushed in a little bit more aggressively. Very clever moves. Oh,
good
10
shot,
HP
though.
left. whaz, this is an opportunity for him.
Let's make it count. Mega, DaHanG obviously heard that. The potential of him coming around the corner. Kamikaze, and the combo! That combo is real, but he's out of rockets! Doesn't matter because he gets the rail. In many ways, that was such a crazy situation. I still think that's a win for DaHanG.
It is, absolutely.
Because whaz had so much stack, had just collected the Mega. Somehow DaHanG still got a kill in that situation. Yeah, ridiculous.
Of course, because at this point, whaz doesn't just need individual frags, he needs to turn them into consistent control and more frags to make it back up. So the fact that he didn't even just get one frag, but he lost essentially everything he had been working for a minute or two, that's a huge setback.
Thank you, Pika. The kamikaze.
Yeah.
But he's using kamikaze in some really weird situations. So the fact that you have to be ready for that all the time, that's quite a huge thing to micromanage on the other side of the opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that we just saw. DaHanG, he knows that his opponent is about to rush, so he puts himself in a safe position and then pops the peeker. Essentially, it's like a remote LG right to the face, just like that. DaHanG a little bit confused as to where he is after coming out of that mode, taking some nice rails from whaz. Can he get himself on the bubble? Will get it just in time. whaz needs to commit right now. He can't just let DaHanG move and run away once again, because that will spell the end. Oh, can he actually get the frag?
Oh, the gauntlet! That was a brave attempt. But how much health is he on there? He didn't get the health bubble. Yeah, he's on quite a lot because of the heavy that he just collected. But
yeah.
That would have been a brave attempt. Not sure if that would have worked out, but again, I guess it's optimization. If you're probably going to die, just maximize the damage output.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what DaHanG did. He knew he couldn't run away much longer, so he just went for it. Didn't pay off, but in the end, look at that. That's 30 seconds burned off after dying right there. That whaz has been able to do nothing to him.
Oh! Oh, he died anyway. That would have been... yeah. I was still good. I still like that. But yeah, whaz, to be fair, 30 seconds on the clock.
It's possible.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah. Hey, look, he's going to find DaHanG right here, but it's going to get pushed right back off. And yeah, whaz knows he has to just absolutely go for it right now. Rocket jumping up. Nice. He needs to hit more.
Every miss. And if he dies now, that's it.
The moment he missed that second rail, that's when it was over. If he had landed the rails, killed DaHanG right there, he had around 10 seconds to set up for a respawn frag, and that might have tied things up for him. But the way that went down, it's guaranteed that DaHanG will take the win, at least 2-0.
That was a great display. And I know it was like super biased that I just really wanted to see some of the Strog. The big reasoning for it is that Strog and Pika, it's still quite a bit of a talking point because it's only recently really that Strog was overworked or reworked, sorry, and just on the off chance that someone that's watching doesn't realize, Strog obviously didn't always have the crouch slide. That was recently given to Strog in an update, and now it has, in Duel for sure, completely reinvented how the champions played. So now a lot of people are trying the champion out in a new way that couldn't really be seen before. It was interesting to me, at least, to kind of just see a lot of the other Strog play that we'd seen earlier today, and now we just saw DaHanG. It really, to me, looks like quite a night and day difference of what the champion is capable of versus what people are currently trying to reach, but there's still a little bit of work left to do. Like, this, to me, is what Strog is like in Duel.
Yeah.
But it's clearly very hard to play.
The biggest difference, I feel like, is that DaHanG is playing Strog, for the peaker, for the health files that he gets, whereas the other people that are just starting to play him now, they're playing him for the crouch slide, and the other stuff, the peaker, is just, it's a bonus, right? They take it alongside the crouch slide, but DaHanG has always been playing Strog, he's always seen the value in that champion, and so he knows exactly how to use him, and look at that rail, that was such a sick play from DaHanG.
It just goes to show that not every death is something to be ashamed of. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes players, when they play this, like, you know, the sort of the casual modes and stuff, it was so fast.
whaz didn't even move. We just stood there and watched DaHanG just slide right alongside him.
But yeah, so generally, other than that, it was just, you know, whaz, it wasn't super one-sided either. You know, there was the last minute where whaz very, very nearly sort of mounted a comeback, kind of came down to that final 30, 40-second mark. But yeah, it does mean DaHanG is going to take this 2-0. Now we're kind of in the bonus map territory. We're going to see whether it's a 3-0 or whether we're actually going to transition into maybe a 2-1. This is whaz's final chance for the week to get some points on deck, and DaHanG is never going to say no to a bonus 8.
Yeah. So here we are about to jump into the final match of not just this series, but of the entire 8th week of the Quake Pro League. We've got DaHanG, we have got whaz, and we're jumping into Woken is going to be our deciding, or not really deciding, it's already been decided, but the final map of the day, DaHanG on the ice, whaz on the visor, and immediately whaz, very strong opening.
Absolutely fantastic way to start the map, and now we're going to see what he gets off it. There is a delay in between Mega and Heavy, so Mega's going to be the one spawning first. whaz doesn't have a lot of rockets though, and yeah, if he wants to get more rockets back, he's got to go through DaHanG, at least down there.
whaz right now is standing up on the LG side of the map. Heavy will be the next item to spawn, and it looks like DaHanG is going to be able to cement himself. That's a good rail though. That will take off quite a bit of that DaHanG's monster stack. And whaz is playing a little bit of a defensive style right now because he knows that he's out of control. He's lost the major items, but actually that's a lot of unreturned damage from whaz. That rail though, that's gonna change things around. He can't push the way he would have, but now he's got a setup. Might be able to get himself heavy.
DaHanG took a lot of damage to make that happen. He has just collected the Mega, but obviously needs to get a little bit of armor too. So a couple of rails from this health, and he's still not completely out of dodge. Armor's going to come through though, and there's the turret. Just to give DaHanG a little bit of information. He knows that whaz is up there anyway, but anything's better than nothing.
I feel like this map is really the first one that we've seen with whaz doing most of the damage. He's been out-aiming DaHanG so far, and even though DaHanG has been the one in control, it's that aim, that damage output on whaz's end that's kept him from giving up any frags.
But at the same time, there's a lot of work being done for one frag so far. DaHanG trying to go full speed ahead, but he's doing a lot of damage. Who's going to get the first rail? DaHanG winning that standoff, and he gets the heavy. Yep. And that's one of the big things that's separating the two, is that every time DaHanG gets a frag, it actually leads to something very significant. It will lead to a Mega, it will lead to a heavy, it will lead to, you know, getting a weapon that he didn't have before. It just seems to be a lot more meaningful than it is for whaz. That said, whaz putting the chokehold back on, Banana, kind of hard to get out of, especially if whaz is controlling that high ground. That said, here come the small pickups and the teleporter to escape, but he's trying to make sure it's safe first, and he knows that's not safe. Taking that information, and maybe he can double back now. Looking for his moment. Wow. Nice rail.
Yeah, at least whaz has got heavy to fall back on, so it won't ultimately do all that much, but that rocket jump's gonna hurt himself quite a bit. Oh! whaz's rail has been really good this map so far. He's really sticking it to DaHanG by using that weapon, and even though it's still a tight game, I feel like it should have been 3-0 based on the control that DaHanG has, but whaz is just, he's putting out the damage and it's working really well for him.
It's one of the scary things about fighting DaHanG, and it's that if you're going to fight the Liquid boys in Duel, they kind of demand perfection. You have to play perfect to beat them because of just how, I guess, what the standard of their regular play is. And whaz is definitely sort of bringing an element of that right now, and a huge part of it is coming down to the damage. Even shots like that, right? Every time DaHanG tries to get back on the horse, whaz is there with the rail to kind of shut him down a little bit. You weren't seeing that at all in map 1 or 2.
Nope, it was completely the other way. DaHanG had both control as well as the damage output, and right now he might still have control, but it's definitely whaz who's... Damn, look at that! That's what we're talking about. Can he make, or at least score himself, the final map out of 3?
It's a great opportunity to try and end things, just get some points. DaHanG, I mean, he's mega comfortable, and whaz is going to try and place as high in the leaderboard as he can. Any points would be better than nothing. And right there, DaHanG kind of getting caught slipping a bit. It looks to me like he wasn't 100% aware of where whaz was there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bit of a mouthful. Where whaz was.
Well, now he knows. whaz is right in front of him, doing most of the damage. But oh, the turret! Oh!
You line him up, I'll knock him down.
What happened there? Was DaHanG out of ammo or something? Because he just did nothing going up the bounce pad, and he's even throwing out the LOL in chat. Clearly something is amusing him right there. I don't really know what that was, but yeah, whaz still managing to extend his lead even further.
It's actually crazy to think that 4 minutes has already gone by. I feel like this has been a lightning fast map.
Oh yeah.
Another rail. whaz, there's a level of confidence and just... It feels to me like just awareness of DaHanG's position. I mean, arguably, we did have Blood Covenant and we had Ruins. Perhaps this is just a factor of Awoken, that whaz is really sublime on a map like this, because now he's got... It's just you approach the map a bit differently, don't you? The size matters a great deal, and whaz has more of a gauge on where DaHanG is all the time.
Yep, size indeed does matter, as whaz has got quite a sizable stack to his name, making his way around the map, looking for more damage he can put onto DaHanG. He wants to inflict the pain. That's a bit of a preemptive rocket right there, expecting DaHanG to maybe be hiding around the corner. Fortunately for him, he wasn't there, and look at that. Actually, stacks are getting pretty close, but DaHanG still struggling to really steal a major item or put himself in a position of control. Is he gonna drop down? He will. Heavy will be going his way, and that's a perfectly placed totem, because by putting it right there, it forces whaz to divide his attention, and he can't just stay standing in that window doing damage on the player, because there's still a turret that he has to deal with as well, and if you don't, we both know how much damage that thing can put out.
But now whaz... a little bit on the back foot health-wise, and DaHanG, if he's not quite able to hit his mark, it's going to allow whaz some more opportunities to come back. He doesn't want to linger around heavy for too long, because DaHanG full speed ahead. whaz on 1 HP, and that's an easy pickup.
I feel like that was such a risky play to go for teleporter right there, knowing that DaHanG would take Mega. I mean, you've got a 1 out of 2 chance that DaHanG is going to come that way, and you've got nothing to work with. And that one mistake, that one poor decision, led to a snowball of 2 frags, and DaHanG right now has got control and has tied things up all the way.
But this is the scary moment. You know, DaHanG, he's so well known for kind of like never losing his cool. You know, in a competitive setting, absolutely, where it's kind of hard for him to lose hope. At no point will DaHanG ever give up in a match in any capacity. Like, it's 100% focus all the time, all the time. So now it's 3-3. You may have had the lead versus DaHanG at the very beginning, but you can't think you're safe at any moment.
No. And let's hope that that kind of mental wear and tear isn't starting to affect whaz right now, because it won't get to DaHanG at all. Look at that, the LG is solid, getting pushed back with the rockets. Oh, 9 points of health. Both players incredibly low. Can DaHanG... Oh!
Don't do it!
whaz baits out the shot. Very well done.
I feel like that was, at the very end, a bunch of LG coming out from DaHanG, and then at the last minute just... Yeah, a spec here and there. whaz kind of escaping the range, as it were.
Yeah, whaz got a little bit unlucky, though, because his rocket bounced DaHanG up to that central platform just out of reach, and he didn't have LG to take the fight at that range. But in the end, still not looking all that bad for whaz, even though it is DaHanG who takes the Mega. Heavy will be up next. Doesn't look like whaz is in a position to get himself on that item. He's gonna play a more passive game, maybe. Oh, that's a good read. Excellent tri-bolt.
And that's enough at least to say DaHanG, get out of here. Get out of my face. Now it's 2.5 minutes left on the clock, even each way, but some damage is coming out, and that turret being a bit of a pain there. Wonderfully placed there from DaHanG. That rail. whaz is significantly far behind now.
DaHanG,
he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, really.
Absolutely, and DaHanG, as we said earlier, he lands the shot when he needs to. He needed to land that rocket to give himself full control, and right now it's difficult to see how whaz is going to get out of this situation alive. He will not. 2 minutes left on the clock, and DaHanG finally puts himself in the lead.
But once more, it's the scary factor of, it's like I said, DaHanG finally gets a frag. What's he get for it? Heavy. And now he's got loads of pressure. He's got lots of momentum. whaz, yeah, he's got a bit of stack, but I feel like DaHanG's the one in control, and he's got the lead now. You know, one frag, maybe one frag, but oh my word.
I think there was 60 damage coming out of the turret right there. Very quick and dirty. DaHanG doesn't even have to lift a finger to inflict that kind of pain on his opponent, but it will happen in the end. And now DaHanG, oh, that's a pretty nice rocket coming out of whaz. whaz actually being able to position himself on the heavy and exchange some rails as well. Things are turning around. 1.5 minutes left to go. whaz, are you going to commit to this? That first rocket might have been prohibitive, and it will shut him down. Oh, I like the decision, but then once that rocket connected...
I'm looking at a missed rail, and I'm looking at the fact that DaHanG survived with like 91 HP after collecting a small bubble. I feel like that could have turned the tide so heavily, and just like a pinball, there we go. whaz dies again, 6-3. And what was a lead is now escaping whaz quite significantly. DaHanG on the verge of a 3-0. 1 minute warning is here, 60 seconds on the clock. Can whaz bring this back, or is DaHanG making this a 3-0 victory to finish the night?
whaz is definitely going to try using that tri-bolt defensively, but he's just lacking weapons at this point, and DaHanG does have every single tool on the map available to him, and he's not gonna miss those kinds of rails, extending his lead even further. I feel for whaz, because that really felt like that one rocket. It wasn't direct, it was like 70 damage, but it just sent him flying into the room, completely locking off his escape route, making him unable to do anything. And now whaz, this is full-on desperation mode. He knows he has to do something right now, so he's going up on the bounce pad against the lightning gun. And that's simply not going to work against a player of DaHanG's level.
We've seen that once or twice tonight. The point of no return almost, where you just have to try so hard to bring something back in. Granted, whaz did get one final frag, but too little too late. He had a fantastic start, but all the same, it's going to be DaHanG winning this entire series with a bonus frag in the last 2 seconds. 3-0. So congratulations to DaHanG. He'll say yes to those 8 points all day, every day.
Congratulations to us as well, because we both called this one. Not that it was the most difficult call of the night by a long shot, but still, DaHanG looking solid. And I mean, if he ever wants to dethrone Rafa, this is what he needs. He shouldn't content himself with getting a 2-1 victory or anything like that. No, he needs those points. If he wants to end up at the top of the American leaderboard, that's what he has to do.
And if he puts himself in a position where he has to fight Rafa next, then, hey, experience in the weeklies is experience all the same. Absolutely. And he's been able to defeat Rafa before. I mean, by all means, I could say he could do it again. And the more success he gets against other people, then I guess the better in shape he might feel when that time comes. You know, well played to whaz in that final map. There were absolute signs of life, especially at the very beginning, but it's that kind of case that we discussed where it feels like DaHanG never has anything that resembles fatigue. I don't really see fatigue in his play ever. It's just, I don't know, I guess that's what experience will do to you. Not that, you know, whaz, more of a team player, so fatigue will set in the same way. But in Duel in particular, just DaHanG just seems to be a different beast in Quake Champions. It's just, compared to the other Quakes that he used to play, there's something about Champions that he just seems to have, it fits him like a glove.
Yeah. I think the main difference was just that whaz's aim was so confident and just absolutely on the ball at the start of the map at least. He was just landing rails that the past 2 maps he just wasn't at all. And that gave him, like we discussed this in detail, right? DaHanG was in control for pretty much the start of the map, but still whaz was tying the score just because he kept doing so much damage that DaHanG couldn't push in and get the frags.
Well, that... just like that is the final series of the night, and we've officially wrapped up week number 8. We've got a couple of things to show you guys. We have, of course, some of the standings and the graphs and the leaderboards, and it's all the different ways of wording the same thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But it means that a lot has happened today that players will need to think about going into future weeks, because they kind of need to use it as fuel as we are now reaching relegation territory. You know?
Yeah, Very true, because as of this point on, players can only gain 8, or in the end 16 more points, right? 2 more weeks to go. At most 8 points per week if they get a 3-0 victory over whatever opponent they have to go up against. So you got to take that into consideration when you look at the scores that are about to come up. And you can really kind of see some players are absolutely in the danger zone, and they essentially need to win both of them perfectly to still be giving themselves or keeping themselves out of a relegation area, whereas others are very comfortably in the lead.
We are now in a position where, I mean, the panic button will start to set in because week 8 is finished. 2 weeks remain, and that's not a lot of time to get the all-important points that players will need to avoid relegation periods. You know, we're in a position where players are able to look at their standings compared to everyone else.
Yep.
I'm not going to talk too much about who's in trouble and who needs to focus, because ultimately we're saving that for week 10, because that is the final week where it's do or die. It is make or break, and now we're starting to see the players that are starting to climb through the ranks of challengers like CNZ, Cypher, Nick from the Americas, who was already confirmed for Italy. There's a lot of players that have a damn good chance of dethroning the relegation players. So things are about to get really juicy, Flea.
They sure are, and here we've got the world rankings once again. If we take a look at the left side, we see that out of the top 10 players, just 2 of them are from the Americas, Rafa and DaHanG, but they do occupy the first and third spot, so they have definitely been playing their hearts out, and have been accomplishing quite significant and impressive feats. Kilson taking that second spot, Cooler number 4, and Wenger in the 5th position, partially because of course, his Quake on performance really wasn't what people were expecting, but so far 6-0, undefeated in the online section.
There are only 2 players in the world right now that are currently undefeated in the world ranking, and that's Rafa and that's Wenger. Is that foreshadowing? I guess we'll find out in a few weeks' time as we go into Lucca, the first LAN in Italy, Wenger's hometown. It's been a long period. It's crazy to think, honestly, that we've already surpassed 8 weeks. We've been doing 2 months of Quake Pro League already. It feels like only yesterday that QuakeCon happened. So, I mean, I guess that just spells good things to come for the rest of Quake Pro League. I want to give a final announcement as well. Make sure you guys are following Quake on Twitter and all kinds of social media, all the information that you need on upcoming tournaments, upcoming leagues that are taking place because of Quake Pro League, and I mean, more importantly, the Challengers. The Challengers League is that open bracket style league that if you see the players play today and you think you have a good shot at taking them out yourself, then you have a means to prove it. You can get involved in Challengers. It is for the Americas and it's for EU and CIS. We are starting to see players like Cypher and CNZ. We're seeing Nick as well, Dewey in America, who has come out of his retirement to try and get back onto the Quake train, and he's been doing pretty damn well for himself. So I can't recommend enough that you get involved in Challenger if you want to be a part of this wonderful ecosystem that is Quake Pro League. Before we finish off tonight, Flea, anything you want to say to the lovely people at home?
I mean, in addition to following Quake, you should definitely check out the channels of the pros themselves, because every single last one of them has a Twitch channel. They stream very regularly, interact with all of their viewers, and you can definitely learn a thing or two from them. And also, of course, Quake Champions, as we have not yet mentioned, free to play entirely. Anyone can download it from Steam. Go ahead, jump in, get to fragging, and maybe we'll meet in the arena.
Absolutely. And it's been a pleasure as always, but for another time, I believe that's where we're going to have to end the night. Thank you all so much for joining us for another week of Quake Pro League action. My name is Ketchup. I've been joined by the ever so talented Flea on the mic. And I mean, all that's left to say is thanks for watching, and we'll see you in week number 9. Much love.